Hello, guys, and welcome to our first podcast. It's called the Off on Tangents episode.
The Off on Tangents.
Off on Tangents. I'm here with my co-host Jacob Clifton. Clifto.
How's it going,
Jake.
guys?
My name is Daniel Pompey. Nickname is Pompey.
Pompey
For the viewers. If you want to, give us a shout out or anything like that. But we'll want to start off with why we came up with this concept off on tangents.
Yep.
Jake, if you wanted to talk about how it came about,
All right.
we're going to talk about, what's going to happen in our future episodes. Start off with that.
Well, basically, I think I was just down here chilling one day, and you called me up and you put the idea in my head of starting a podcast. And when we were originally thinking about doing this, you said we'd be sticking to NBA and hip hop topics, but I think the more we started to discuss it, we just found ourselves going off on tangents, and we just could not stick to the two topics. We had too many things that we wanted to talk about, so
Yeah.
I think that off on tangents just sort of came about when we just couldn't stay on track when we were talking.
Yeah. Well, for the viewers, we love NBA. We love basketball. We also love the NFL. So
Yep.
a lot of American sports. We'll be talking about those things, but
I'm not very Australian.
not at all. But yeah, our love for those sports came about. At I suppose a very very young age, I suppose.
Yeah.
Or
maybe a bit later for me than for you, I'd say.
How did your love for the NBA and the NFL and even hip hop? Because that's what we'll also be talking about.
Well, I think
this podcast.
a large part of my love for the NBA started when we started to hang out. Actually, because I was always put into basketball as a young kid, and I never really stuck to it. I just wanted to try every different sport I possibly could.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for me now, because I ended up falling in love with basketball and wish I'd stayed in it my whole life. But yeah, once I got out of school, I started to play some basketball, and then I started to work with you, and it was upon working with you that I started to be like, the NBA sounds pretty cool. All these guys at work were talking about the NBA, and I was like, I better check this out, and I just fell in love with it. At that point, I was watching the NFL pretty regularly. I'd played some gridiron when I was in school, and I think hip hop for me, unfortunately, started with Eminem, and I was a bit of an angsty teen, and I just listened to Eminem talking about murdering his mum and fell in love with hip. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I got onto hip hop through Eminem, and it wasn't until I got out of school that I started to really expand my taste in hip hop, and nowadays I don't even think about listening to Eminem. I don't even think I've listened to his new album yet. So
yeah. Nice. Well, that's a good background, Jake. Regarding how you came about those three things: NBA, NFL, even hip hop. I had a similar, I suppose, acquiring of those sports and hip hop. I watched the NBA when I was 13, so I fell in love with a player called Tim Duncan, who played for the San Antonio Spurs.
The big
fundamental. So for the viewers, if you don't know Tim Duncan, he's only been recently retired for like 3 years. I've always I loved watching him play. He's never that flashy, exciting player, but Tim Duncan played for the San Antonio Spurs for 19 seasons, from 1997 to 2016, and as a little kid, watching a player like him was really, he was like a role model. He never did anything wrong. It was always all about excellence, and him and the Spurs organisation have been excellent for the last 20 years. And so that's how my love came about for the NBA. I didn't really get into it until about my last year of high school, in 2009. That's when I regularly started watching games and getting into the stats and all that. In regards to the NFL, it's only late. I'm still new to the NFL, but lately I've been getting into the NFL and just following every game. Like I watch, the match highlights on YouTube and just every week I just can't wait till it comes out and just seeing all these plays, all these schemes and the offense and the defense.
Yeah, it's almost like a game of chess.
Exactly. And I really find myself getting into these like more so than basketball now, which is weird. I think
because the regular season is so much more, it feels more important. Every game, if you lose this game, you're potentially not going to make the playoffs at all. And I think sometimes the NBA can sort of drag on throughout the regular season. You're almost just waiting for the playoffs to begin and waiting for those games to actually mean something, because 82 games, it just sort of feels like, oh well, they're going to lose this game, doesn't matter.
That's right. Yeah.
Whereas in the NFL, it's so important every single week that if you lose this game, it could be potentially your playoffs done like that. Definitely does feel more of an urgency in the NFL.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, it just so happens like perfect timing. The Super Bowl's coming around, and we will be talking about the Super Bowl and later on in the show, and also just analysing the key players and all that stuff. But that's how my taste in NFL came about. Even in the hip hop, I listened to hip hop in a young age. I grew up in a neighborhood where hip hop was always around, especially American hip hop. Even though we live in Sydney, American hip hop was always shown in Rage. The top 40, whatever. It came about then, and I grew up listening to like Tupac, Biggie, Nas, even right up to Kendrick Lamar and J. Cole.
Yep.
All that, and it's always been a part of my life. And we always celebrate hip hop and talk about albums and
every time there's something new coming out.
Starter just
the hype.
Yeah, exactly. And he said this about this rapper, and it's just it's always been a part of my life growing up.
Awesome.
So we pretty much talked about how we came about. But we're gonna talk about. We don't want to start this podcast on a sour note, but it just so happened that the death of Kobe Bryant came about.
Yep, definitely.
I think it was on the 26th of January, 26th or 27th.
I think it was 26th in the US, and I think it was the 27th over here at the time. Yeah.
So for those that don't know, Kobe Bean Bryant passed away along with his daughter and the other 7 people actually. So not 9 deaths in total. But Kobe being the superstar that he was, it was just such a shock to the NBA community and to even like just people around the world, because Kobe was so much bigger than icon.
Basketball, wasn't he?
He was so much bigger than basketball, and his death was just shocking. I didn't want to believe it at first.
Yeah, me neither. It was just out of nowhere, wasn't it? No.
We didn't want to believe it. And I messaged Jake that morning, saying like Kobe passed away.
Yeah.
And he couldn't believe it either, and I was just shocked.
I thought it was one of those fake sort of news articles that you read on Facebook all the time. Yeah. Well, I was hopeful that it was, to be honest, because I was like, no, this can't be the truth, and I did not want to give it a single second of truth, because just didn't make any sense, really. Yeah.
Well, that's what we want to talk about, Jake. Like, what do you, what were your career highlights, or how did Kobe, I suppose, affect your life as an athlete, as a basketball player? Like, did you enjoy him, watching him as a player?
So unfortunately for me, my love for the NBA sort of came at the sort of later time of his career. So I never got to experience the peak Kobe Bryant.
Sure.
And I've watched so many highlight reels, and I think, wow, like this guy was incredible.
Yeah.
But I think the biggest impact he had on my life was just his constant dog mentality of just like, you can do this if you put your mind to it. I feel like he just gave me this inner motivation that not many athletes give to people, man. He was constantly almost an underdog throughout his career. He had to fight through adversity, and he didn't have anything just given to him at any point. He worked and worked and worked for everything. So I think in that way he really inspired me he always inspires me to do more with myself when I feel like I'm not doing that much. I think, wow, like I could do so much more if I put my mind to it.
Exactly.
But yeah, just not only in that, I think I got to see more of what he was outside of basketball towards the end of his career.
Yeah, definitely.
He was, he won an Oscar for his short film, which was a beautiful film about his career and his life with basketball. And just seeing him as a person, the impact he had on everyone in the league, outside the league.
Yep.
I don't think you could say there was anyone who didn't love Kobe. Like and that could just be my opinion, but there's never anything negative I could say about Kobe. He was always doing something positive doing positive with his knowledge, passing it on to younger people, giving back to the next generation. He just saw the bigger picture of basketball, and I think to me he was just so much more than a basketball player, and that's why I feel so almost robbed by this, because there was so much more that we should have been able to see from Kobe. There was so much more like we'll never get to see. And not only that, but on the larger level, I remember when you messaged me, I thought, well, like, if this is true, like, at least we should still be able to see his legacy continued through his daughter Gigi, and then to find out she was on the helicopter with him is just like pouring salt on it. Like, just feel so robbed of, this was an amazing legacy that just seems to be cut short, and now there's no one to, I guess the other daughters, I don't think they shared the same love for basketball as Gigi did, but I just feel terribly for the family, to lose, and not only for them, but I read that some of the other people on the plane had children. One of them was there was a family, a mother and a father and a daughter who had two other children.
That's right. Yep.
It's just tragic in every facet of the situation.
Our for the viewers, our condolences go out to their families. A lot of people just focus on Kobe and Gigi, but there were other people involved, and our condolences go to them as well. It's a tough situation with the NBA community. The Lakers organizations are grieving it, and you can see where LeBron gave his speech before playing Portland. There was a lot of NBA players were affected by Kobe, and you're right. You mentioned before he had an effect on a lot of players. He taught them. He was like a teacher at the end of his career.
Yeah, mentor to everyone.
Yeah, exactly right. And you can see it in the play of, like, say, a Kawhi Leonard, with his jump shot. If you look at his jump shot, a lot of people model Kobe's style of play. And obviously, a lot of people will probably hate me for saying this, but Kobe modeled Michael Jordan's style of play. He had that, like you said, dog mentality. Definitely. He was a hell of a competitor. He'd will his team to win, and he would never give up. Yeah,
never quit.
I remember one time where he torn a ligament in his shoulder, or he popped his shoulder, and he got the trainer to pop it back in straight away, and he didn't even want to get out of the game because he just wanted to keep playing. And the trainer popped it back in. He's like, I'm good to go.
Just another level of competitiveness, isn't
exactly, just competitor personified, excellence. Just, you're right, that dog mentality, and you know, Kobe's career, if I could define it in 3 words, was competitiveness, excellence, and just, I'd say clutch as well. He was a very clutch player.
Yeah.
A lot of people may not agree with that. I mean, there was a statistic. Apparently, like if he took the last shot in an NBA game, it was like 6 out of 24, which
really?
is not a great.
Not
not a great. But the shots that he did make, they counted when it mattered the most.
Mattered, definitely.
Well, it really, exactly, when it really mattered, and you know, just. It's just a great loss to our game and to the NBA and to
the world.
To the world. Yeah, like, I mean, if we summarize, you know, Kobe's career. Like, we were talking before about, you know, him as a rookie, and in his early years, he wasn't even playing that great in his rookie year. I mean, we got this Kobe stat line here in his first year, only 7.6 points, 1.9 rebounds, 1.3 assists, which is not great. I mean, he was starting behind Nick Van Exel.
Yeah, he started on the bench for the first 2 years of his career. So,
and then,
but if you look at it, steadily increases. So he goes from 7.6 to 15,
exactly.
19. He never seems to really drop off. He always seems to be improving in his stats.
And you sort of know now, like, during his like first 5-6 years, he was with Shaquille O'Neal, Shaq.
Yeah.
And that's when they had their three-peat, right? Mm. They had their three-peat, which was, I'd say, Shaq got most of the limelight. And that was reflected in the 3 finals MVPs and the regular season MVP won in the first championship they got that year. They won it, and so Shaq was always playing the bigger brother. And Shaq says this. Shaquille O'Neal said this, like, he was always the bigger brother. Kobe was the little brother.
Well, he was more in his prime of his career at that time, wasn't he? So.
Correct. And so, whilst Kobe won, you know, 3 rings, he never got the credit for it. But now, like. But those championships wouldn't have been won if it wasn't for Kobe as well. Like, sure. Shaq needed Kobe, Kobe needed Shaq. So it was always like a 2-way thing. And so their relationship, I don't know if you know too much about their relationship, Jake, but it's always been a tumultuous one, like very, very filled with a lot of tension. And it all bursted out in the 2003-2004 season. Yeah. Okay, so in 2003... the Lakers bowed out to the San Antonio Spurs in 6 games, I think, in the Western Conference semi-finals. They lost to the Spurs, and there was a bit of tension there of who was the alpha dog with Shaq and Kobe. Shaq was, you know, always, he had proven himself. And Kobe was always the one that would always train hard and
he felt like he had more to prove.
Exactly. And Shaq would never train sometimes. He would never he wouldn't like
he was physically gifted.
Yeah, Shaq felt like he didn't need to train, and Kobe was like, no, everyone needs to train. Everyone needs to, you know, stay in shape and all this. And that's where that tension started to grow, with it spilling with if you know, I don't mean to say this, but with the sexual assault allegations as well with Kobe, that
was
didn't
that
help.
Around that?
It didn't help with their relationship, and I don't mean to, you know, say that in any bad way, but like that, I feel like that was the breakup, icing on the cake, I suppose. It just spilled over, but nonetheless, Shaq went to Miami. Kobe stayed with the Lakers. And there were a couple of years where, one season, I think it was in 2004 2004, 2005, they didn't make the playoffs. And then
The Lakers? Or
the Lakers. I didn't make the playoffs one year, and so it was a bit of a funny time for Kobe that era. And then they had a couple of losses in the playoffs to the Phoenix Suns, which sort of made Kobe request a trade.
Was this the Steve Nash?
Led Suns.
Yeah.
So that was a pretty good team back then. Unfortunately, the Suns didn't win a championship, but they beat the Lakers in a 7-game series where the Lakers were up 3-1. And this is probably one of Kobe's best highlights. Was in Game 4, the Lakers were up 2-1 against the Suns, and the Lakers were playing at home. And Kobe, in the last 10 seconds, he ties the game. Ties the game with a layup, sort of a layup. He could have got caught a foul, but the refs didn't call a foul. They tied the game. It goes into overtime, and anyway, it goes into overtime. I think the scores were tied in overtime, and it was a jump ball in the middle of the court, gets tipped back to Kobe. Kobe pretty much operates. We knew what was going to come. It was a jump shot. It was a jump shot. Was
you always know it's going to come
and it was
down.
pretty much an elbow jumper. It was just a fadeaway elbow jumper, and he ices it. It was a buzzer beater. Yeah, it turned out to be a buzzer beater, and the Lakers were up 3-1 in that series. But
clutch.
But yeah, Phoenix ended up winning 4-3 in the end.
Yeah,
and that's when, in 2007, 2008, that's when the Lakers, Kobe requested a trade. He felt like the team wasn't going anywhere, so he requested a trade, and that's where the Lakers had to make a move, in which they requested Pau Gasol from Memphis.
Yep.
And that's when Kobe ended up winning those 2 championships. We were talking about this before the podcast started, just with him winning against the Magic in 5, and then the Celtics in 7. So yeah, that.
He also lost the year before.
Correct.
With Pau Gasol, didn't he? With
Correct.
Celtics,
So in 2007, 2008, the NBA championship was decided in 6 games, with Paul Pierce being the Finals MVP. But Kobe at that point thought, the team's going well now. Like, I think it's going in a good direction.
They made the finals,
so he stayed. He ended up signing an extension, I think, after that. I mean, this just what you're saying goes to show how much adversity he's from the loss of after that year, after the three-peat, when it sort of just went downhill. Correct.
He never stopped fighting, and
exactly.
I think you were mentioning to me before the teams that he made it with to the finals. That by all means weren't finals teams. It was a Kobe show.
Yeah, it was. Exactly right.
So he constantly fought back against all odds, and he just never, until he got back to that point. I think it was fueled a lot by the people discrediting those first 3 championships, by saying you were carried by Shaq.
Yeah.
There, even though he'd played a massive role in those teams. Shaq wouldn't have won those rings without Kobe, just as Kobe wouldn't have won without Shaq. Up until that point, Shaq hadn't won any rings.
Yeah.
It just goes to show what a competitor and how strong mentally he was to continue through all the adversity. I mean, you said he requested a trade. He was almost ready to give up.
That's right.
And I'm sure many athletes have many points in time where they want to give up. But
exactly.
He persevered, and
it turned out he was a one man team as well. Stayed with the Lakers after being traded in the draft from the Hornets to the Lakers for Vlade Divac.
Was that a mistake by the Hornets?
Yeah, I'm sure the Hornets made a mistake with that one, but that trade happened, and what an amazing career he had. I mean, at the latter stage of his career was marred by injuries, with a torn Achilles and all that. But pretty much his excellence was already, personified by, year 10. Like we just knew Kobe. Everyone knew Kobe was the man. The man.
We didn't even have to be watching the NBA to know who Kobe was.
Yeah, exactly.
If you were just playing basketball in school, everyone's yelling Kobe.
Yeah.
As you shoot that shot.
Yeah, when you shoot that paper ball, you don't yell Jordan. You yell Kobe. You're right.
Exactly.
Yeah. And to top it off, like, it was a great story at the end where, I'm sure you watched the game, his last game against the Jazz, for the viewers that don't know, Shaquille O'Neal actually challenged them to score 50 points in his last game, and it turned out he got 60 points.
Yeah.
It was just a great way to end a career.
Very Kobe.
Very Kobe-like. Very Kobe-like. Takes the shots. He was a volume shooter, and then
I think he had 2 clutch free throws to make the 60 at the end.
Yeah, that's right.
So all the pressure in the world.
Exactly, and this year was actually his Hall of Fame induction year, where Kevin Garnett, and Tim Duncan were going to be inducted. It's just, and obviously he will be inducted. There's no doubt about that. But what a career! He was a great family man, an icon to the game, and he had a multitude of other interests outside of the NBA as well. Because he didn't. You can see at the end of his career that he started to focus on other things. Like his heart wasn't in it. I'd say in the last few seasons. He just had
after that much had been taken from him, I think.
But
you get to the end of your career and he's given his whole life to
exactly
this
right.
sport,
I mean, half his life was in basketball.
But even after his career, he didn't stop giving back to the sport. He was always giving back to the youth. He saw the next generation, and had his Mamba institution.
That's right. Yeah,
where he just gave back to people. Shared his knowledge. So tragic loss, but as well you have to remember the positive sides, everything good that he left and that he's given to the world, and he gave everything that he had, and I'm very grateful that I got to witness any of Kobe. Like, even if it came at the end of his career, I'm still grateful for everything that I witnessed of him, because he was just a different kind of person. You just don't get many people like that.
Jake, what would you say is your best highlight? Well, like, just, it could be a dunk. What was your best Kobe highlight?
Whoa. Best Kobe highlight.
Was it his 81-point career game? Was it...
I think my favourite was... I don't know what game it was. I think it was one of the finals in one of the finals series that he won without Shaq. And he hit a buzzer beater, and he's like going into the camera. He's like, can see when the Mamba was that when the Mamba was born.
That was Phoenix. That was the game I'm talking about. Yeah,
and you can just see
he was like
the passion in his eyes.
Yeah,
like, I think that's one of my favorite. But like, it's so hard for me, I find it really hard in basketball to pick a favourite moment for a player, because they just make highlights day in, day out. And to me, there's too many good highlights of Kobe. There's ones where he goes up under the rim, dunks it on 3 people, and he just doesn't ever look like he's going to explode, and he explodes every time, and it doesn't matter who he's coming against.
Exactly right.
He's dunking it on. If he gets that mindset of, I'm getting this bucket I'm getting this ball in the bucket, I'm going to the rim, you just can't stop him. So what about you? I know you have a few specific moments.
I mean, I'd say it would be the 81 points that he put up against the Toronto Raptors in 2006. I was just like, wow. Like, I never thought that anyone could score that many points after Wilt Chamberlain scored 100. And lo and behold, like, he did it, 81. And it was just shout out to Jalen Rose, by the way, who was guarding him the whole time.
Oh, I actually saw a video the other day of Kobe. He's sitting in a lounge area, and Jalen Rose walks in.
Yeah, the commercial.
He's like, oh damn! Like as he walks in, he's like, hey Kobe. He's like, oh hey Jalen, and he's just like, a bartender comes over and is like, oh what would you like to drink? He's like, oh Martini, and he's like, how many olives would you like? And he's like, 81, and they just have like a minute of staring at each other.
I remember that, yeah.
Yeah, that's like, he's like, yeah, it's just a joke. He gets it.
Yeah, it's just a joke. That's right. That's
right. Yeah, that was another thing when we're on that topic. Just he had such a good humorous side, Kobe. He didn't seem to take himself too seriously, did he? I guess he did. There was times where he was very serious when it came to winning. He's very set on that, but at the end of the day, he could still have a bit of fun, and he was still a person. He was just a bit of a personality. So
yeah. Well, yeah. Rest in peace, Kobe. Yeah. Our condolences to your family and just the whole NBA community who are grieving at this time. But yeah,
we'll be grieving for a long time. I don't think this is gonna die down, and I think this is gonna be something that remains a shock for as long as it's true. You know, like I don't think I'll ever just wake up and be like, oh, that isn't a shock. You know, it's just
exactly. In the words of Kobe, Mamba out. But yeah, no, like we'll go on to the Super Bowl now, which
go into a lighter.
Sorry about that, guys, but we had to give our respect to Kobe and his great career. The Super Bowl 54 is happening
tomorrow.
Tomorrow, actually. Yeah, we're actually recording this on a Sunday. We were actually meant to record this like last week or a while ago, but we had some scheduling conflicts. But Super Bowl 54 is happening in Miami, and for those that who are keen to talk about the NFL, watch the NFL, it's the Kansas City Chiefs against the San Francisco 49ers.
Great lineup, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the first time in a long time that there's a non-Patriot Super Bowl, which is great for the NFL.
Well, I think I was saying to you about a month ago, I had this feeling that the Tennessee Titans were going to come. They were the dark horse. I actually felt more nervous because I was hoping to see Baltimore play the Chiefs in the AFC Championship. I thought that would be an awesome lineup. But I had a feeling when it came to Tennessee versus the Pats, I knew something was going to upset. I just had this feeling. Derrick Henry has just been phenomenal all year long. And the Titans, just as a team, felt like they had the heart, they had the right mentality, and that underdog, almost the Kobe mentality. So I had the feeling that the Pats were this was not their year, and I guess every year that's the thought, isn't it? And the thing that's so annoying about the Patriots is they tend to make it every year against all odds. Can I just say that I was very glad that it came to fruition this year, and it was a stressful game because I don't think anyone scored in that second half. It was 13-14 at the end of the first half, and then that second half was just grind. The whole second half, no one scored until that pick six right at the end, and I think we got the best matchup we could hope for at the end of this. Chiefs and 49ers. Yeah,
well, you're right, Jake. I feel like these were the two best teams in the regular season. They
aside from Baltimore, who just imploded in the
against the Titans. Definitely. That was a bit of a shock. I suppose. Well, I could. The only thing I could say about good thing that could come out of the Baltimore team was, Lamar Jackson's. Well, he's going to win MVP, I think, anyway.
Yeah, he should do.
Because of he's not like any other quarterback, to be honest. He likes to run.
He's a running back.
He's almost a running back quarterback.
And they got was it Mark Ingram?
Yeah, Mark Ingram. They had in the regular season, they had a great relationship.
He has a bit of fun.
Rushing light,
Ingram, they I don't know if you saw him introducing Lamar to the press one game. He's like the king. He's like,
right.
I forget what he says exactly, but they had some fun together. I think they'll be. I think this year, unfortunately, they were too young. I think the same sort of thing had to happen to the Chiefs last year. You gotta go through these type of things before you learn from them.
Exactly.
They had an outstanding season. They looked so unstoppable all year, and they were unstoppable all year. But when it comes to playoff times, you see happened with the Saints as well. You see the best teams just implode because it's a different game almost. There's as we were saying before, there's so much on the line for every game in the regular season, but then when it comes playoff time, it's even more on the line. You don't get 7 games in the playoffs like you do in the NBA, so you lose that game, you're like, at least we're going back home for this one.
Exactly.
It's do or die, and I think the Titans had that mentality this year. Yeah,
well, exactly right. I mean, Ryan Tannehill, I think he's coming into a contract year. He wants to, show the Titans that he still wants to be there. But
he's unfortunately,
going on the 49ers and the Chiefs, like it's going to be. I feel like it's going to be a matchup of one of the best offenses in the Chiefs against one of the best defenses,
if not the best.
Yeah, if not the best defense in the league. I mean, talk about what do you think is going to be the theme? Do you see the Chiefs, just Mahomes just throwing passing, because their passing game is phenomenal.
They slice up defenses, regular defenses.
And how are the 49ers defense going to cope with that? I think talk to the viewers about that.
I mean, it's hard to say because the thing that's so confronting about the 49ers defense is their pass rush. They just get in your face like they've got 4 guys. I think Nick Bosa, they got Buckner, Armstrong or Armstead or something, and then another guy I'm mentally blanking, but they've just got guy after guy who's going to come at you. But the thing that makes the the Chiefs offense so interesting is you've got the best. You got Patrick Mahomes, I would say, is arguably the best quarterback in the league. Yeah. And arguably the best at getting out of the pocket and escaping those moments where you think it's almost a certain sack. Yeah. So it's really hard to say because the only thing I would say is Chiefs have the better offense, and the better defense is on the 49ers, but then the thing that I'm worried about for the Chiefs is that their defense isn't going to be as apt with dealing with the offense of the 49ers. So I feel like the Chiefs, for most of their games, have had to sort of outscore the opponent, and it's easy to do that when you have Patrick Mahomes, but it's not easy to do that on the 49ers defense because it goes further than just their defensive line. They've got a secondary that will make it tough on your receivers, then force interceptions. I think the main thing that the defense of the 49ers does is they get the ball back. They take the ball off you as many times as it's possible in a game. Yeah. And I think the Chiefs are going to have their work cut out for them on that one. Yeah. They are a phenomenal offense, but I just worry about the defense because the 49ers offense has been quite amazing to watch as well.
Sorry guys, that's nothing to take away from the 49ers offense. I just think their defense is much better
than the Chiefs defense, or just better. Do you think that's the driving force behind the team? Defense?
That's all I see is like their defense just hounding.
Stonking opponents.
In the NFC Championship, they were hounding Aaron Rodgers. They kept sacking him, and I was like, man, this he had no room to move. He couldn't operate out of the pocket.
Well, they didn't score a point for the first almost 3/4 of the game.
Yeah.
And they're a team that all year has been scoring, almost winning the games in the first quarter.
Yeah.
I feel like all year long I've been waiting for the Packers to be exposed, because I have a bias against the Packers, but they were scoring 21 points in the first quarter against most teams, and then in the second quarter they may score again, but then in the second half they almost shut down, and it would just come down to a final moment. They just win the game because of what they did in the first quarter. But this was just a completely different game. They did not get a bar of anything against this defense. So,
well, I wanted to talk to you about I think this is going to be a key area. We've noticed that the 49ers are a rushing team.
More so in the playoffs. They've been a very strong rushing
We've
team.
noticed that in their games, in their playoff games, that they've been rushing a lot. So what that means for the viewers, if you don't know, they like to use their running backs, or like a fullback or a running back to
keep the ball on the floor.
Yeah, to gain their yardage.
Waste some time. They've been very good at managing the clock, taking time off the other team getting the ball. And
so Jimmy Garoppolo, their quarterback, he hasn't really done much. He's just letting the running backs do their job, and which they have done a hell of a job. Tevin Coleman, Raheem, Mostert, they've been doing an exceptional job, which sort of leaves like players like George Kittles, Emmanuel Sanders, Deebo Samuel.
Sanders is it Samuel? I think Samuel. He's
Deebo,
big enough to be a running back.
Yeah,
himself. He's a big dude.
Yeah, they're not really getting much of not really being used in the offense most of the time. I mean, George Kittle, I think last week only got one catch. Which is
the ball was only thrown 8 times in the game. So I guess he got it one in 8 times.
Yeah. But. So I wanted to talk to you about whether Jimmy is gonna pull through if they can't run the ball, and he has to start using his wide receivers again. Do you think he will come through in the clutch?
Absolutely, yeah. Well, we haven't seen it in this playoffs per se, because they have just been as soon as I was saying before, it's just changed their game style. Hitting the playoffs, they've seen early on when the run game is working, and so they stick to that, and they take the time off the clock, and almost they just suck the energy out of their opponents until they've got no time left. But I think all year long we saw a different offense where you didn't know if it was going to be a run or a pass, and the passing game was phenomenal. I argued with you throughout the season about who was better between Kelsey and Kittle, and I feel like my argument for Kittle has been sort of unjustified in this playoffs, because he hasn't had the chance to showcase his abilities other than the blocking game, which he's been phenomenal at, and you can't take anything against him from that. I mean, it comes down to the game plan that they're running. But you can definitely say that Kelsey has been more of an offensive weapon in this playoffs. But I think when push comes to shove and they need that, they got 3rd and long and they need a big play, I think absolutely Garoppolo would deliver. I think Kittle is unstoppable when he he's big, he can catch over you. Doesn't matter if you double team him. When he gets, not only that, when he gets the ball, no one can bring him down. He's just an absolute monster with yards after the catch. So, I mean, I'm hoping that this Super Bowl brings out a different offense than we've seen throughout the playoffs for the 49ers, because it hasn't been the best to watch, unfortunately. It's been cool watching Mostert destroy records last week, and that was fun, but I find it sometimes a little bit boring when the ball is just ran constantly. It's almost too predictable. And I'm hoping that the Chiefs' offense, knowing that that's what they've been doing, will come in with that, because they did it to King Henry. I don't know whether that was just a mistake on the Titans' behalf. But you came into that game thinking they're just going to run the ball through Henry, right?
Sure.
And they, for what I thought, for the most part, sort of shut that down. And I think the mistake for the Titans was that they went off that game plan and stopped just giving it to Henry. I think if they'd kept doing that, they might have had a better chance, because he wears down their opponents. But in saying that, I'm hoping that the same sort of thing will happen in this game and we get a bit more of a passing offense from the 49ers, because all year I was watching the schemes that Kyle Shanahan would write up these crazy plays and I'd just be absolutely baffled. It was like the defenses didn't know what was coming, didn't know what was going to happen next. I didn't know what was going to happen next, and I'm thinking, like, what amazing play am I going to see next? And it just didn't end. Every game there was something new. They were just such an exciting team to watch all year.
Yeah.
And I feel like, in the playoffs we haven't seen that so much. None of their plans have been working, their running games have been working, and they've just sort of destroyed every team that's come in their way so far and haven't needed to go to anything else. So hopefully we get that in this playoffs, but in this Super Bowl. Just before we move on, 3 questions for you. Who's your X Factor? Any team? Who's your Super Bowl MVP? And I suppose the second question should be who is going to win it, and then who is going to get the Super Bowl MVP. Oof.
Go.
Good question. So I think you cannot say there's no argument that the X factor for Chiefs is Mahomes.
Okay.
He's, I think, by far and away the best player for either team.
Yep.
I'd say of the 2 teams, I love Patrick Mahomes. He's the best player on the field.
He's the better quarterback.
Best quarterback of the 2, but by far and away the biggest X factor for both teams.
Sure. In
saying that, and also, the combination between him and Kelsey, the offense in general with Tyreek Hill, Sammy Watkins, and all their receiving core, that it's pretty unstoppable. So I think the offense in general is an X factor for the Chiefs. But in saying that, I do see the 49ers coming away with a win in this one, unfortunately, because I'd love to see Patrick Mahomes get a Super Bowl early on, and I know that he's probably going to be back there multiple times throughout his career. So I'm sure we'll get to see Patrick holding up the Super Bowl. But I do see the 49ers as their defense, as you said, with Nick Bosa, is just, and their pass game. You got Richard Sherman, who's playing
one of the best quarterbacks.
He's been a leader.
Sure.
A great leader for this team. He's got Super Bowl experience. He's should have won 2 Super Bowls. So I think in just the difference in the 2 is, I think 49ers is a more complete team, and I do think because of, it's not like the NBA where one star player will make as much of a difference, even though it is the quarterback. So I do think the player that makes the most difference is your quarterback, and Patrick Mahomes will clearly be the best quarterback of the 2. I do think 49ers have the better chance of winning. But in saying that, I will not be surprised if Chiefs come out and absolutely stomp them. It's hard to say, really, because...
Okay,
what about you? What do you think?
My X factor would probably be George Kittle's from the 49ers.
Hey.
I honestly think that if they...
You've changed, eh?
Yeah, no. Well, I think the 49ers will win it.
Yeah.
Just primarily because they have a lot of avenues a lot of ways they can win the game.
Definitely.
With their, just monstrous defense, and then if Garoppolo, if he just does a running game, so be it. If it works, it works. If he doesn't, I reckon he'll still pull through with his passing, regardless. Yeah.
Well, they've got the weapons.
Yeah, they have the weapons. Emmanuel Sanders is always reliable. I'm pretty sure he won the Super Bowl with Denver. He was with Denver. And Super Bowl MVP. Well, I'd have to say George Kittle's then, if he's going to be my X factor, because he can affect the way a lot of ways. He can affect the game in a lot of ways. So whether it's offense or or whether it's blocking or receiving.
Yeah, definitely. Many of the plays that you watched last week, whilst you said he only had one catch,
exactly,
which you think, whoa, like what was he doing all game?
Exactly.
Well, you watch every one of the runs and he's out there leading the blocks on each one.
Yeah.
He's something special to watch.
Yeah.
Like, and that was without seeing. I feel like we're being sold short on what we could be seeing with him, because I feel like I thought all year he was the best tight end in the league. And not to take anything from Travis Kelce, but he just seems to be on another level to everyone, like almost like Gronk when Gronk was in his prime, where no one could compete with Gronk. But Kelce in this playoffs has just been almost, I think he's shown a lot more of, like, you see Kittle doing blocking, but we haven't gotten to see many of the large runs and the big catches and big plays from him that we're used to seeing. Whereas Travis, on the other hand, has been just he's just been their number one target. So he's been phenomenal. But yeah, I do think I agree with you that if they end up winning and Kittle's played his game, I couldn't be surprised if he ends up as the MVP.
Yeah.
I think on the Chiefs, you're guaranteed that Patrick Mahomes is going to be the MVP.
Oh, 100%.
On the 49ers, you're thinking, who's it going to be? Like, is it going to be Mostert? Like, is he going to run for 230 yards? Is it going to be? It's like, will it be Jimmy G? Because usually most of the time it is the quarterback that gets the MVP. But in this case, it's almost unlikely. You don't feel like it's, unless he comes out and shocks us all throws. But I don't think it'll be a shock because we know he can play. Will it be Kittle? Will it be Sherman on the defensive end? Will he get 2 intercepts in this game?
Dark horse, sorry.
It will be hard to say on the 49ers who's going to be, because you have so many players that can step up and win it. But let's just look forward to it, because I think this is going to be a pretty damn good game, regardless of, I think either team, like, whilst I pick 49ers as my favourite, cannot stress enough, I would love to watch the Chiefs win. And I think it's as open as it possibly could be as to who's going to, I don't think there's a massive difference with the 49ers. I think they're more complete as a team, but it's anyone's guess who's going to be winning this game. I think it's just going to be a fun one to watch.
Well, there you go, guys. I suppose that's our review of the Super Bowl 54. I suppose in our next show we'll definitely analyse the game and just highlight the main parts, what happened, what didn't happen. All that stuff. So definitely. That's our Super Bowl preview, I suppose.
Yep.
And we're gonna talk about our upcoming shows, I suppose. We're gonna go see a hip hop show. Just regarding our third passion, I suppose, is hip hop, and we love hip hop.
Love being at shows.
Love being at shows. I mean, we've seen J. Cole together now.
We went to
Kendrick. We went to Kendrick.
Before you we can list a few, but what can you list of your favorite? What was your favorite show you've been to live? Because we could list a lot of. We've seen a fair few people now together. A lot of different artists, but there's one guy I'm thinking of. I want to see if he pops in your mind as well, because there was one show to me that stood above all the rest.
Well, I know what you're talking about. I definitely know it. But I have a bias towards, because I'm a huge J. Cole fan, and
you gotta love J. Cole.
And we even bought the shirts. We could have worn that today. Which says "Sell Dope, Rap, Go to NBA," and that's from his For Your Eyes Only song. What's it called? Immortal? I think it's Immortal. Yeah. and so yeah, I'd say that's been my favourite show, hip hop show of all time. But I know what you're talking about. But I'll let you handle the reins on that one, because that was a pretty good show, and it was just the crowd was just so energetic. Yeah, but I'll let you.
I'm referring to my good friend. my favorite show was definitely Joey Badass when we went and saw him at the Enmore Theatre. Was it Enmore?
The Enmore.
Yeah.
It was Enmore. And so that's the famous theatre in Sydney.
Newtown sort of
Newtown area. It's very hip. But yeah, go on.
Very, very. I think the Enmore was part of why it was such a good experience, because of how closely packed it was. I remember my favourite part of the night was because we were in the over 18 section, there was a fence blocking us about 10 metres back from the stage, and everyone was like, what the hell's going on? And at one point everyone was pushing against the gate, and eventually like parts of the gate just snapped, and like seas of people flooding in, and we just happened to jump in on that crowd and push into the front. We got blocked off from the bar, so we couldn't get any more drinks, but I don't think that mattered at all, because we were like within 5 meters of Joey, and he was on point with his energy. Exactly. He's like, pro error, no error.
Yeah, I do remember that. That was such a hype, and
he was fun, man.
For those that don't know, Joey came out for his second studio album called All American Badass, which to me it was an okay album. There weren't a lot of standouts. It was just more so his energy and his aura. You could just see his presence on stage, and I think it's because of the closeness of the crowd. It wasn't a big crowd, but it was very, very pleasing and very energetic to watch. He even gave like an a cappella at the end, right? He started rapping.
It wasn't Temptations. It was Devastated.
No. Remember how he goes, Joey. We go, Joey, fucking badass. and he started rapping, and I was like, whoa, man, he's always just going off the top, and I could.
The energy
I can't
of
argue
that show.
Yeah.
I think J. Cole was great. An absolute phenomenal performer. Sure. Good stage presence. I think for me, the fact that the energy that I felt from that show was just above every other show.
Exactly.
Like and we've seen some pretty good shows. Like Anderson .Paak was up there.
Anderson definitely.
His smile the entire show was pretty intoxicating. And like I'm struggling to think of all the different ones. I think J-Rock was a bit of a disappointment for me.
For those that don't know, Jake, he didn't like J-Rock. J-Rock is from Top Dog Entertainment.
I love his music. Let me just go on record and say I do like his music, but
didn't like the show though. But I loved it. I love the show. It was only for like a little over an hour, but
it was a short set. I feel like he missed a chance to do most of his bangers. My favourite song is Gumbo. I was praying for that song and it didn't come on. His
90059 album.
Yeah, 90059.
Yeah.
Be the set. My biggest issue with the show was that he like cut the show off what felt pretty quick to me. I don't know if when you're having a few drinks, it does always feel pretty quick, but it was the biggest insult of the night was when we were standing there chanting encore for about 20 minutes after the show. Everyone's sitting there screaming encore, encore, and he just never comes back out, bro. Like, I've never had that happen at a show, man. That to me was just almost like we weren't worth the time, like we weren't good enough of a crowd or some shit.
You remember the DJ actually having he was smoking a spliff, he was smoking a joint.
Yeah.
The DJ, remember him? He was just smoking it, and he was so high. I could remember him just getting so high, and he was just he started leaning on the DJ, the decks, and he was just just smoking, and I was just like, "What the hell is going on here?" He didn't care, but we had differing opinions about about
I think
J-Rock.
you were just.
I was feeling the energy.
I
I loved it. I didn't have a problem with it.
He was still fun.
Yeah.
Like, to me, it was just a bit disappointing. There was some songs that I was looking forward to that didn't end up getting played, and that's what happens at a lot of live shows, isn't it? So
those were our past shows, but we are going to see the American rapper JID or JID, however you want to call it. For those that don't know, he's coming for his second studio album, DiCaprio. He's been here before, and pretty much JID's only been recently. I'd say 2016. He got signed to 2016 and 2017. He was signed to Dreamville Records, and that's J. Cole's label. And obviously J. Cole found something in him
special,
and my God, like JID has been just wow. I've just burst onto the scene. He can like vary between the slow rap and really quick, and you can see that in his song with J. Cole. What's the song called? J. Cole.
Is it on the Revenge of the Dreamers 3, or is it?
No. Hang on, I'll look this up.
I'm really hoping that he plays Ed, Ed and Eddie. I'll be very. Is that the one you're talking about? Yeah,
so it's called Off D's.
Off D's, oh no.
Where he's just constantly just going, get on my dick, follow my hip, cannabis, follow my split. Yeah, that's my rapping for.
He would definitely play that song.
Yeah. So I just thought, wow, he's just spitting fire.
Yeah, that's a very fast-paced song.
Also, you mentioned Ed and Eddie.
That's more of a slow-paced song.
Yeah, see, exactly to my point. Like the varies between the fast and the slow. He can really raise, like, just adjust the tempo. You can adjust the tempo with him.
Even I think a song that we're almost definitely guaranteed to hear is Never, and that's probably 100%. One of the best songs. But in that song itself, how it's like never been shit, never had shit, never knew shit, and then it switches into that complete
switch up. The switch up is amazing.
Whoever
made that beat, you should get a raise.
Definitely,
you should get a raise.
It's probably J. Cole, man, in the Dreamville. But that song, like a lot of his songs, I think it's getting more and more common in hip hop. A lot of switch ups throughout the beats, in your beats, and changes in tempos are becoming pretty common. But I really really like it in that song, that's for sure.
His other bang is called Westbrook. There's a few others. There's a song off it's all from his new album.
So these ones we can expect to be
we definitely expect. For those that are looking to listen to a new and upcoming artist, JID, especially in Australia, JID is definitely a guy that people should listen to. He has been out to Australia. I did see him at Hidden Festival in Brisbane. It was only for a short set, but he was amazing. Definitely worth a watch. Come watch his show, which is on the 4th of February in 2 days' time, and we'll definitely let you know how it went, what songs he played, just the general vibe of the whole show. And then that's at Max Watts in Moore Park. I don't know if there's still tickets. It could be sold out. I don't know, but I'll be going there straight after work, and I'll with Jake.
Should be a good night.
It should be a good night.
We've got one more planned at the moment in the next coming week.
We also have a new. We're also going to watch another new rapper. He's fairly recent as well. It just started in like 2017, 2018. His name's Coda the Friend, and he's based in Chicago. And we see him in Oxford
Yeah, Oxford Art Factory.
Art Factory, yep, that's right. He's a very... What do you think of him? Like,
very chill. Chill rapper. Like, very vibey, man.
Yeah.
I think doesn't go as hard as JRD in terms of the energy.
Yeah.
But his flow is very chill, very up. He's the type of guy you probably want to smoke a joint in the crowd.
Yeah, that's all right. That's right.
And chill, you know, like he's just he's very vibey sort of beat.
Yeah.
So I quite dig it. So
if you compare it with JRD, like he's a guy that you can't adjust the tempo with. He's just slow, like a very chill rapper.
Very chill, yeah. Everybody think I'm Hollywood.
Yeah, he's got a couple of good songs. I haven't really heard too much, but I know he's got this really good song called Koala. I think Chicago. Excuse me. Chicago. I think Diner. Yeah.
He's got some very I've
heard
a lot of his songs.
Yeah.
Like Tash has played me a lot of songs, and I like a lot of them I don't even know the names of. I'm just hoping I'll know them when they come on the set.
Yeah.
But I'm yet to hear something I didn't like. That's why when I saw him coming, I'm like, well, I should be getting tickets to this. Go see him for sure. Yeah, we'll before also, he gets too big.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's it. We always like to discover artists that are still coming up, so we can say that we knew him or her before they became famous.
Well, not that. Yeah. I guess by the time we hear about them, they're already pretty famous.
Yeah, exactly right. Because most of the American music doesn't come here till later. But
good.
Well, I suppose we'll wrap up the show. But yeah, those are what we have coming up. Super Bowl. We've got the All-Star game coming up, so we'll definitely talk about that in our next show.
I mean, before we wrap it up, is there anything you like? Anything about snubs this year? And, anyone who made it in that perhaps shouldn't have made it in there, or?
Well, I think the Bradley Beal thing was a snub.
Yeah.
The fact that Jimmy Butler was not a starter. That was a big snub for him. But
who
I think it was
took his place in the starting lineup.
So it was Kemba. So the starting guards are Kemba Walker and Trae Young, and a lot of analysts. I think the NBA on TNT guys, Shaq, Kenny, Charles, and Ernie, they all said that Trae Young deserved this spot, even though they had one of the worst records in the league, and Bradley Beal, was averaging 28.7 rebounds and 5 assists, and they were like 11th, 12th in the NBA standings, or in the Eastern Conference, much higher record than Atlanta.
Only 3 spots higher.
Yeah, really. And he doesn't even get a reserve.
Yeah,
a reserve spot or
that was a bit surprising, wasn't it?
Yeah, if you want to talk about snubs, there was really nothing in. I couldn't really argue against the West reserves, or the starters. Like, I mean, the starters, I would have picked those starters. I mean, if Steph Curry was in, I'll probably may have
Klay Thompson
switched. Yeah, or Klay. I would have switched. Maybe I think I would have taken out James Harden. Actually, I would have taken out James Harden and put Steph and Luka as the starting guards. And obviously, you're not going to change. I think that was pretty unanimous. Kawhi, LeBron, and AD. Reserves. Even that, I didn't have an argument against it. CP3, well deserved. I think it was your 10th All-Star. Deserved. Congrats to you, man. You've had a
All-Star
tough
career.
Few years, I suppose. Just in Houston and just not being able to get over that line, but I hope things work out for you, because I don't think you are going to stay in OKC. But
I mean,
what about you?
He's been pretty good in OKC so far, so I think that's been quite a pleasant surprise.
Sure.
How OKC have performed, but Bradley Beal, I'm surprised, because the argument for Trae Young is the record, and I do look at Trae Young and think, wow, what a young, phenomenal player. So I do think he deserves to be in the All-Stars. And in terms of, I don't think his team's record does do justice to how good of a player he is. So I think it's hard to take him out of the starting squad, but he definitely is an All-Star. But yeah, I guess the only other guy I can think of, because a few players have been quite impressive this year. I think a lot of the teams have been that weren't the teams that were expected to do well haven't done as well. Whereas you look at, you were saying before you were impressed with Domantas Sabonis, but you've got Malcolm Brogdon, who's been he come from Milwaukee last year and really increased his value this year for sure. And then I think some of the people that you usually see, like Paul George in the Western Conference, I don't know if I'd call it a snub, because I think he's an all-star player for sure. He's phenomenal, and I really love Paul George, but we haven't really seen much from him this year, unfortunately. And I think it is a fickle sport. You got to, one day you're the hero and the next day you're sort of forgotten, aren't you? So that's right, I think you got to be constantly putting yourself out there and showing your value to be voted into the All-Stars, because when it comes down to it, you're voting on who's currently amazing you, and Paul George this year hasn't had really the chance to shine all that much. He's missed a fair few games with his shoulder injuries, and I definitely wouldn't take James Harden out, although he's been a little bit down on the numbers lately for some reason. I don't know if it's due to injury
even though he's scoring 35.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You still look at his average, and he's 30. I think it's 36 a game still. Wow, so and that's a drop off, man. It was up at 40 points a game. Yep. So the numbers speak for themselves. Really, it's just he belongs in the starting lineup, and I think Luka Doncic came out and wowed everyone at the beginning of this year, and I think he's gotten a lot of hype around that. But since his injury, they've dropped down a lot in the rankings. The Mavericks.
No,
so
they're still sixth. I think they're still
sixth, but they were second in the West, and now they're down to sixth. So, I don't disagree that he is an all-star. But if you're going to take one of those two out, I would probably keep James Harden in at this point in time. Maybe in a year or two, it'll be a completely different story. Because I almost think, actually, when you're looking at the sheer volume of shots, I think I look at Doncic as almost a more efficient James Harden, in that he doesn't take the sheer number of shots. Hasn't been very efficient this year, James Harden. So I guess in that regard, you could definitely argue that if Doncic was taking that many shots, he would be averaging as much. But it is. I think everyone in the Western Conference, as you said, is well deserved, and it's hard to argue anyone out, because there's so many good players in the league nowadays that there's always going to be many snubs. I was actually sort of hoping we'd see Alex Caruso make his way. I was hearing a lot of I know he's not an all-star, but I just thought the fans would get him over the line, just as a bit of a fun sort of twist to it. But obviously there's some good guards in the West, so you can't really be too optimistic that there's someone coming off the bench. Did Derrick Rose?
No, he didn't make the All-Star team. But look, I'm just happy D Rose is back to. He's not injured. Yeah, I'm just happy he's not injured and he's playing basketball. That's the main thing.
But he's not just playing basketball. He's playing
playing well and
playing well basketball.
But look, we we'll. It is what it is. Like the team has been selected, and I suppose we'll we'll give an in-depth analysis, I suppose, like in our coming shows, or as we get closer to the All-Star game, which should be, I think, next week or the week after. But yeah, we'll wrap up.
Yeah,
we'll wrap up
definitely.
there, and thanks to the viewers, I suppose. If we'll post this up, we'll see where it goes. But yeah, it's our first time. Let us know what you think. And also, like, if you have any ideas of what we should talk about in our podcast, just anything like that. And we'd love to hear your feedback. I mean, Jake and I, we started this thing just to have some fun and just talk about what we love, and just to spend time together. So we just want to share that with the viewers. And also just talk about our knowledge and just share it with the people. So yeah, thanks guys. That's our first podcast out of the way, I suppose. Cheers.
Thank you very much for listening, guys, if there is anyone.
We'll leave it there. Thanks. Off on tangents.
Maybe there'll be a few more tangents and less of a organised structure next time. I think we went with a bit more of a we had some things we wanted to talk about today,
for sure.
As we keep going, I'm sure we'll find some more tangents to go into.
Peace. Well, thanks guys. Enjoy your weekend. Watch the Super Bowl, All-Star game. We'll let you know about the shows in our next show. Hip hop shows, I mean. Thanks.
Rest in peace to Kobe.
Rest in peace, Kobe.